following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah, go Cowboys!
This is Mick Shots, streaming live on DallasCowboys.com and the official Dallas Cowboys app. Now, here are Bill Jones, Savannah Humoller, Everson Walls, and Mickey Spagnola.
And welcome to Mick Shots, presented by Miller Lite, the only beer of the Cowboys. It's Miller time. It's Mickey time. And here we are, the Monday after.
All back together again.
The Monday after what? We must win. We will win. Win is the name of the game. Where were you 35 years ago last night?
What the hell happened 35 years ago?
You got a new
just told you.
owner and head coach.
February 25th, 1989.
I wouldn't say that's telling me, Chris, but I don't know what the hell he's talking
February
about.
25th, 1989, Everson Walls, your life changed. Well, it was about...
Oh, okay, if that's the case, yeah, you're right about that. If I know what it is now, you're right.
There you go.
Yeah, for the good, though. For the good, though, eventually.
Yeah,
I was sitting in the press conference, and yourself, where were you?
I was in San Antonio, actually, working in San Antonio. I didn't come here until 1990.
So they didn't ship you here?
In Savannah Humoller, where were you?
Let's not go there, you guys.
A figment of her parents' imagination. They might have even been her parents yet.
Yes, whenever. In fact, I did not realize it was February 25th until I looked at my watch and I saw, it's the 25th. This is Jerry Day. So... Jerry bought the Cowboys 35 years ago yesterday.
It was also Frank Lux's birthday.
Was it really?
Yeah.
And his which was a Saturday, so his birthday party got destroyed on a Saturday night at Valley Ridge.
Although we did, after everybody finished their stories, we reconvened in Tex Schramm's office. And, you know, the weird part about the press conference... Did you happen to listen to it, Everson?
I did not.
It was no, I don't think it was live.
I think it was well, I was in San Antonio, but I assume it was carried live by the local TV stations here. Yeah,
so it was a real
that monumental a moment.
It was a real weird thing because on one hand you had the Jones family kind of celebrating. It was a big deal, right?
Yeah.
Although holding their breath because they just spent all their money to buy the Cowboys. And then next to it was Tex Schramm, and it was like a funeral.
Yes.
Right?
That I do remember.
The 29 years that the organization had been under one basically roof.
One coach for 29 years.
One president.
And earlier in the
manager.
evening, in the afternoon, Jerry had gone down to Austin to personally let Coach Landry know that he's no longer the coach of the Cowboys.
And there were all these people in the organization that had been there for 29 years, so that was not a celebration for them.
No.
And it was really a weird thing. And
I do remember Tex looking like he was not doing well.
I mean, if you think about it, he was in the main seat all the time, and when the press conference began, he didn't have a seat. He was standing up, right? So when we all finished 11:30 writing or whatever, we ended up in Tex's office, and we were he was at his desk. He only had a couple chairs. The rest of us were sitting on the floor, right? And Frank hadn't said anything yet. And then finally, it was getting close to midnight. And he goes, "Well, I better get up. Finish my birthday. My wife's waiting for me." And it was midnight.
She ain't waiting for you, buddy.
Yeah, right. Frank, I think your birthday just passed, buddy.
I just remember, at the time, the teams, as far as the players were concerned, they were kind of at their wits' end as well. Just things weren't going well. Tom was trying to do his best, to salvage whatever talent we had left on the team.
Coming off a 3-13 season.
3-13 season. When you have things going like that, then the front office, you can see it happening from the top down. Things were just going bad. They weren't making good decisions. We weren't playing well. Everything was obvious that they didn't put a good product on the field. Much as we tried to be competitive, it's not they don't want competitive here. That didn't work for us. And you could we as players, we were like, they have to go. The regime, we were kind of like, hey, that's just the way it goes. Players get cut all the time. Even though as unique as this was, we were thinking it's time. But a lot of players don't ever realize when it's time for them, then it's also going to be time for some of us as well.
You can put it in today's terms, probably what was going on in the last couple of years in New England with Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
Where, okay, it's time.
Yeah.
So how did you find out?
It was all over the news. It was all over. Yeah, that's how you found out. It was somebody saw it somewhere else, and y'all kept the media.
And the story had been broken
a
day or two before. And in fact, it was Tom Murray at Channel 5 who broke the story on this. Jerry Jones from Arkansas is going to buy the Cowboys.
And everybody was like, oh, wait, who's this guy?
Panic.
And then, of course, Jerry and Jimmy had dinner at Mia's. Yep. And Ivan Maisel, just from the Dallas Morning News, just happened to be dining at Mia's that same night and knew Jimmy didn't know who that was, with Jimmy probably, but from covering college football. And then he called down to the Dallas Morning News and said, get me a photographer. And it was in the front page of the Dallas Morning News that morning.
You think he had to go to a pay phone, or Mia's let him use the phone in the restaurant to make that phone call?
Now you can just get your phone out and take the picture yourself.
Exactly.
Well, every time we do this, we sound so old. Every time we do, like, damn, we
Experienced.
were ancient, bro.
Experience.
So that's what you missed, Savannah,
Yes,
35 years ago.
I know, and
last
now
night.
I know the story.
That's right.
It was kind of, like I said, when he first came in, you remember the excitement? I mean, it was just, it was past all of the, cursing out the kicker and all of that. Way past all of that. We got into preseason where everything was like very exciting. We were like 3-1.
New and exciting.
We were 3-1 in preseason.
Oh, but initially,
and it was like, whoa, we're gonna. Hey, thank God Jerry and Jimmy are here.
But initially, a lot of the fan base was in shock. In fact,
pissed off.
No
was my
doubt.
sister.
No doubt.
Who was the longtime Cowboys fan. I remember getting a call from her, and I'm never going to be a fan of that team again. They let go Tom Landry.
Because of Tom.
Yeah, that's right.
No one wanted Tom to go. But
And then she was front row and center when they were in the Super Bowl.
and just
I'm sure she was.
well, yeah, because just to be honest, the players, they were not as heartbroken as the fans at all.
Yeah.
I mean, you could kind of, he's human. I mean, he was. What could he do with us? We weren't that talented. So you want him to make miracles, and you like like Ron Springs used to say, you can't make chicken salad out of chicken crap. So that's what he was trying to do the entire time, and he just couldn't do it.
And as truth be known, in that Super Bowl that year, so it was the 88 season, 89 Super Bowl, was in Miami. Guest in the Cowboys suite at the Super Bowl was Jimmy Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
Gil Brandt invited him because Gil had all the connections with all the college coaches and everything. So
Was Gil contemplating that if a move is made, despite the owners, even if Bum Bright's still the owner,
right?
That if a move is made on Landry, that Jimmy would be a candidate?
I don't know if it was coincidence or not.
It was an odd time for Gil as well.
Oh, yeah.
Time. A lot of crazy stuff was going on with him. It was a tough time for him.
Well,
at that time.
and they kept him around through the draft, and then
he wouldn't leave.
He too had to go.
He wouldn't leave. Well, you say it right, Spags. He would not leave.
He was camped out.
It took him a while to leave his office. When I say a while, about a week. So
Well, he had to collect all his stuff.
yeah,
I could to continue wrap up my story on my sister calling. I said, well, you may be mad right now, but they're about to get Troy Aikman at quarterback, and this team is about to get really good.
Yeah. And then we end up, it wasn't just Troy, but it was, what's the other quarterback's
Steve
name?
Walsh.
Steve Walsh in
Yeah, that
the
was-
supplemental draft,
Yeah,
which
like,
was you're trading
what are we
away
doing?
next year's one, and
Yeah, that
then
was
they
weird.
but then they traded Steve Walsh and got multiple draft picks for him
I
too.
don't
Got
know
it all
how
back.
they did that.
Yeah, that's
I have
right.
no idea how they did
That's
that.
right. Yep.
That was my answer to the Trey Lance question last week. It was like, well, we wasted a 4th-round pick on Trey Lance. I said, well, how do you know? Guy hadn't even been to training camp or had a practice with the real team. I said, and what if he gets to preseason and he plays well and somebody gets a quarterback hurt and they go, oh, we'll give you a second for
Right.
him.
Yeah.
Right.
You never know.
Good
Never
point.
know.
So, but yeah, February. You know, it's funny because when I saw it was February 25th, I'm going, why do I got to remember this date? It was like, do I have a bill due that I got to pay? Right? And then it dawned on me. It's like, oh, it's Frank's birthday. The late Frank Luxon,
late
by the
Frank
way.
Luxon.
Uncle Frank.
All right. Well, spinning it towards 2024, and we're spinning very closely towards the new year. We are 2 weeks away today. 2 weeks away from the start of free agency, and NFL teams convening today or yesterday in Indianapolis for the Combine, which actually we don't look at it on TV on the NFL Network until later in the week, but I think the linebackers are the first ones in today.
They didn't care about showing the linebackers
Yeah, they don't.
work out.
It's
All the
starting
behind-the-scenes
it's starting
stuff.
today?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, by the time the workout is the last thing they do, by position groups, and so
The
they're there for
testing
several
starts.
days.
Is
Yeah.
it testing
Yep.
starts today? Yeah.
So
And we've already seen a couple quarterbacks not going to throw, including the Heisman Trophy winner Jaden Daniels.
and Heisman Trophy winner Caleb Williams.
Yes. Yeah. Which, by the way,
My football presence is just not there today. I just feel like the football season was so long ago.
You need your big green
Yeah,
notebook.
I need a
is
big
what
green
you
notebook.
need.
Oh,
to get
it's
me
gotten
prep-
bigger.
My
Look at
prep-
that.
and it looks
Hold on.
nice.
It's a
Wow, you got a new
folder.
binder.
And look how empty it is right now. It's going to
This
fill
is the
up.
Combine one.
This is the big green NFL draft scouting notebook, which
Great.
I was at spring training last week. I had baseball on my mind all week, and today I open up my big green notebook and
This is
start
it, huh?
filling it in.
which,
Yeah.
by the way, having said that, it was a really good story on Evan Carter last
Well,
night.
thank you. Thanks. And the Cowboys need to find some Evan Carters in this draft.
Yeah.
The star for the Texas Rangers at 21 years old, got called up in September last year and had a parade in Elizabethton, Tennessee.
I
Same
forgot he
hometown
was
as
from-
Jason Witten.
I forgot about that part.
Yeah. So,
Two
anyway.
great athletes out of that little town.
Isn't that
Right?
something?
yeah.
It's amazing. What was I going? Oh, and I saw Nate Newton got invited or inducted into the Texas Black Hall of Fame
Yeah.
this weekend.
Texas Black Sports Hall of
amazing.
Fame. Texas Black Sports
Hall of Fame. Yeah.
Texas Black Sports Hall of Fame. Make sure-
Well, he could maybe the other
He's
one
not-
too.
he's not just- that's a big Texas black man right there. There you go. That's not how it is. You gotta,
Sports Hall
yeah,
of Fame.
Sports Hall of Fame. There you
Good for
go.
Okay,
Nate.
do I need to go to your Wikipedia page to see if you're already in the
Oh, I'm
Texas
already
Black
in there.
Sports
Yeah,
Hall of Fame?
yeah,
Okay.
I'm already
got-
there. Matter of fact, I spoke for the class.
So you are a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I'm several halls of fame. Yeah. No, but I recall that was very cool for us because I spoke for the class, and part of the guys that went in was the 1953 class from Prairie View A&M. Well, my dad was a part of that class.
Wow.
But he didn't finish. He didn't finish college. He had to come back home after being so cute with my mom. He had to come back home and raise a kid, right? So, but those were all his friends. And so, I called him. He couldn't make it. He wasn't doing well. So I called him that night, and all the guys, said hi to him and everything like that. So that was very cool.
That's so
at that
awesome.
Which, by the way, I don't think I mentioned it last week because we didn't have the show on Monday. We had it on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I missed it.
I did, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I did something I hadn't done before. I went to the Davey O'Brien Awards banquet. Jaden Daniels, LSU coach. Yeah. And they induct a legend every year also, and it was Danny White.
Yeah, I saw that.
And so I had a good talk with
Yeah.
Danny there. It was good to see him. He's got his adult daughter, Heather Kennedy. They're working on a book, and he's got a book coming out in June. Spotlights and Shadows, it's titled.
cool.
Yeah, so got to talk to her about it.
Sounds
and,
cryptic.
yeah, right. But anyway, they induct a. It doesn't mean he had been a Davey O'Brien Award winner. That just somebody that had played well in college and went on into the NFL.
Yeah.
In fact, they didn't have a Davey O'Brien award
gonna
back
say,
when,
yeah.
when
'Cause
he
he was-
started Arizona State.
his 74 would have been his draft class, so 71, 72, 73.
Wow,
And
50
one of the
years-
things
50
we
years ago. Wow.
if we think about it, the Arizona Republic, the newspaper in Phoenix, selected him as the Arizona Athlete of the Century.
Wow.
He went to Arizona State on a baseball scholarship to play
Really?
baseball for Bobby Winkles at Arizona State.
Yeah.
Yep. Remember Reggie Jackson played at Arizona State, and so
And then ended up playing football.
And he
for
wound up playing football.
Frank Cush.
Frank Cush was the
Cush.
football coach. Yeah. Yep.
3-time won the Western Athletic Conference 3 years in a row.
The whack.
Won the Fiesta Bowl 3 years in a row. He left college, and I didn't know this till I kind of read his bio, as the nation's leading career passer at that time for yards. So he was awfully good, and then signed the personal services contract with Memphis of the World Football League. And the Cowboys just took a flyer on him because he had already done it. So they said, okay, we'll use a third-round pick on him and see what happens.
And see,
Oh, I said it was the WFL.
Yeah, World Football League.
Yeah.
it's so weird when you hear of all the accolades that he has.
Yeah.
And when he came here, it didn't mean jack, because you got Roger Staubach.
He was the punter.
Yeah. I mean, that's just lets you know when you can have all those accolades, but then when you get to the pros, no one even thinks about that. All they know is he's the number 2 quarterback behind Roger Staubach.
And rarely had to play. But he punted, got a Super Bowl ring,
all around athlete,
right?
baseball, football, and a punter.
A punter.
Yeah.
That's a lot of skill
That's
right
a
there.
lot of skill. Yeah.
No
And
Danny,
he was.
no, right?
What I liked about him was he rarely punted. They had to look out for him. He would take off a lot, and there were many games where that really helped us. It really did help us out on that fourth down. He picks up that fourth down. We continue our drive.
Yeah.
He did that so many times. Punters just don't do that now. Can they do that? Is that because of the rule? Is that
What?
the way that they nowadays punters don't fake the punt and run as much
Oh.
as
Keep the
Danny
ball,
did.
yeah.
Danny did that a lot.
They don't
that
have
was
Danny White
routine.
punting.
That was routine. Well, now they got the Aussies and the rugby guys coming in as kickers, and they can run the ball.
Where they used to.
Yeah.
Think about what a threat that is at punter when you've got a 3-time All-American quarterback punting for you.
And the other thing that used to happen back then was the quick kick.
Yeah.
Like if you weren't getting
Yeah,
anywhere
right.
and you were at third down,
And you have a quarterback that can do a quick
that can
kick
punt.
from the shotgun.
so you kick and the ball
From
will
the
roll
shotgun.
forever.
That's right.
Forever, right? Danny, funny story, he told me this a long time ago. So when he became the starting quarterback in '80, he was still punting.
Yeah.
in 81, he
Yeah,
was
he
still
continued.
punting,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And he'd go to Gil every year and say, I'm kind of doing both. Don't you think I should get a raise? Gil goes, yeah, I'll talk to Tom. Well, I think 3 years after, I would talk to Tom, Gil told him, you should go talk to Tom.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
So
my gosh.
he goes in and he goes, Coach, he goes, I'm the starting quarterback, but I'm still punting. And I was wondering, maybe I can get paid a little bit more because I'm doing both.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, Tom looked at him and goes, well, Danny, when I played, the more you could do to help the team, the better off the team was. And he was like, what do I say?
No.
Of course he's going to propose it like that.
Well,
yeah.
because the BS coming from the coach's office
Right.
was just thick all the time. I was waiting to hear what he was going to say.
Yeah, what else could I say?
And Tom would always say, "Oh, I don't know anything about contracts. I have no idea." Okay, Tom.
They're playing the card. Yeah.
They played it so much, man. It was ridiculous. I was waiting to hear what he was going to say.
Yeah.
That's funny.
He left him speechless.
Right.
Like,
What can you say? The conversations with Tom were so brief. I don't remember anyone really having a long conversation as far as player to coach with Tom Landry.
The 84 season.
That's the first year we didn't make the playoffs.
Right.
in 10
And I
years.
think there was a game after. I'm trying to remember why
Dolphins.
I had to call him at home after a game. And I think maybe it was before your final game.
It was because we were already.
You had a chance.
Yeah.
But somebody won. I don't. Anyway, it was like, here's the phone number. We set it up. So I called him at home. I had only been here 3 months. So I called him at home, and he comes to the phone, and maybe we talked 3 minutes. And he answered the last question, which would have been the last question, and he goes, okay, just like that. And it was like,
That's it.
no, Tom, I've got another question.
Tony Dorsett says that when he says "okay,"
That's
it's
it.
over. The
It's
conversation
over.
is
Yes.
over.
That's right.
Yeah, he said that many times.
Okay.
I think I heard that interviewing him at training camp, as a matter of fact.
And he would say, okay.
Yeah.
Because everyone wanted to do an expose on him, and he's like, "I don't have time for this, guys."
People didn't realize during the season, he would do a press conference after the game. On Tuesday, they would have their press conference, and he'd do the print media and the television, radio media separately, and they'd have lunch. We didn't talk to him again until Friday, after the last practice, as he was walking to the coach's locker room. That was it.
That was the only opportunity you had to talk to him?
Yeah, unless you had something, you could call Barbara Anderson, remember he was his executive assistant, and say, hey, I got one question for Tom. And you could call and she would get him on the phone. But that was it. That was it. So when Jimmy got here, we got him every day, it seemed like.
He didn't know what the protocol was.
Yeah,
before.
right.
All right. One other thing to wrap up the Danny White conversation. Can you name another punter in the National Football League who also was a quarterback and was a third-round draft pick? He was a Pro Bowler at punter and a Super Bowl champion at punter, and also played quarterback in the NFL, a third-round draft pick, just like Danny White was.
You didn't say a particular team. Yeah,
I haven't. I can give you hints, but
How about
You
one?
never-
he played.
you
He
never
played.
give us hints.
He played
Let's be
in
real.
college at Ohio State. Blank stares. Tom Tupa. What's the other
should have
one?
known that.
Phoenix.
I should have known
Tupa.
that. Yeah.
Won a Super Bowl. He was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers punter when they won the Super Bowl in 2002 over the Raiders.
And he was the Cardinals punter and quarterback when me and Jimmy got into
There
it.
you go.
Right.
Yeah.
There you go. All right. When we come back here on Mix Shots, it's Tales from Vale with Savannah Humoller in just a moment.
I like that.
I'm Dak Prescott, quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys.
And they snap it to Prescott, who looks right. It's not there. He escapes left. He'll run for a first down.
Just like football, when it comes to crypto, it's important to have a team you can trust. With blockchain.com, I know I'm in good hands. Since 2011, they've been trusted by millions around the world to buy, sell, and trade cryptocurrency.
Prescott's going to run this himself. Run it up the middle, and he scores.
Whether you're new to crypto or an active trader, they've got you covered. What are you waiting for? Get started at blockchain.com.
We know that juicy, cheesy, grilled to perfection burger sounds amazing, but it does sound like something is missing. Pepsi, baby. The yin to this burger's yang. Burgers and Pepsi go together like burgers and Pepsi. This perfect blending of flavors makes every bite of lettuce, every sesame seed on the bun, and every sip of that crisp, refreshing, ice-cold cola a journey to Foodtopia. Burgers, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
The Medal of Honor is our country's highest military award for valor in combat. More than 40 million individuals have served in the armed forces since the Civil War. Fewer than 4,000 have received the Medal of Honor. The National Medal of Honor Museum will be a place to preserve these legacies and inspire America. It's being built right next door to the Dallas Cowboys in Texas. Help us honor our country's greatest heroes. Learn more and get involved at mohmuseum.org.
Did you know that responding to one spam call can lead to more? Or that the IRS would never ask for your social security number on the phone? Beat scammers at their own game by subscribing to AARP Fraud Watch Network alerts and texts. At aarp.org/beatscammerstx, you can sign up to receive information that helps you recognize and avoid the latest scams. That's aarp.org/beatscammerstx.
Back to Mick Shots.
K-Post Roofing and Waterproofing, the official roofer of the Dallas Cowboys.
And Mick Shots, presented by Miller Lite. The only beer of the Dallas Cowboys continues now. Tastes great. What do you say?
More fit.
Less filling. There you go.
More filling.
All right, we got to hear the tales from Vail.
Tales from Vail.
Savannah was very excited coming in here because you just got back from Vail, Colorado. Is that right?
Yes.
And there are cowboy stories from Vail.
I have a cowboy story from Vail, Colorado. And mind you, I texted Mickey at the time, too, so he's all aware of what's going on. You guys haven't heard this. But last Wednesday, I went to Vail with my dad and sister, flew in, went skiing for the day. Thursday, skied for the day. And then Thursday afternoon, my dad and sister and I, we always go to this restaurant called the Vail Chop House. And there's this guy, he's partially an owner of the restaurant. He puts on a show at the restaurant. He's like a one-man band.
I met that guy.
Phil Long?
Long time ago, yeah.
Phil Long. He's amazing. One-man band, keyboard, guitar, sings.
Yes.
He takes all these requests, and he just puts on a show for people for 3 hours. So we go in. We sit down at our reservation. I'm sitting next to my dad, and I look over, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's Brandon Aubrey. And Brandon Aubrey was there with his wife, his mom, and dad. And so I guess the dad also knows Phil Long, the singer. And so Phil eventually calls Brandon up to the stage and says, I want everyone in the restaurant to know this man is the kicker for the Dallas Cowboys. And
not just the kicker for the
exactly. Just tells the story of his time in his first year in the NFL and how well he did for the Cowboys. And the whole restaurant gave him a big standing ovation. And everyone started coming up and taking pictures with them. And so obviously I was like, okay, well, I'm going to go say hi to Brandon. And I was like, okay, I'm obviously Savannah. I've chatted with you in the locker room a few times, work on the media side. And he was like, oh my gosh, it is so great to see you. For the record, I am not skiing. He was not skiing here. Oh. He was making sure he was just having fun with this.
Because he don't want you to go back.
You're in the boot. Right. You can't be in the boot.
I had heard before she let me know that he was in Vail going skiing, and everybody in the scouting department was holding their breath.
Right.
Because they thought he was actually skiing.
He was, in fact, not skiing. He was there to enjoy.
Sure that you told us that he is not skiing.
He was not skiing.
Was he lying? That's what I want to know.
Did you check for poles and boots and things like that?
No, but it was awesome to see him there.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's
All right,
funny.
very
They can't even
good.
ski
Tales
these
from
days.
Vail.
I like that.
So
Man, we used to have like 30-plus off-season basketball games.
That's right.
Back in the day. Nobody cared. Dorset was with us.
Oh, yeah.
Best player on the team.
You guys used to travel
all the time,
over the state,
all over the
right?
state. Yeah, it's crazy. Now you can't even. You can if you. What Mahomes didn't he like dunk a basketball one time or something, and everybody had a fit because like, what are you doing on the basketball
Yeah,
court?
like what are you?
How about Micah
yeah.
at the NBA celebrity game?
Oh, I saw
37
that,
points.
yeah.
Oh
and
yeah.
Talking about dunking a basketball.
Yeah, he made that look easy, didn't
Uh-huh.
he? That's crazy. What an athlete. That's ridiculous.
So
Do you think if he devoted time to basketball that he could play in the NBA?
I think he could. Not necessarily on the
Now, I
offensive
didn't
end.
watch the celebrity game. I
bet
haven't
his-
watched him play basketball. I just heard the reports. He scored
I'll
37
bet his
points, and I saw the highlight of the
His
dunk.
defense will probably put him on the court.
Uh-huh.
His
He'd be
defense
Marcus Smart.
will put him on. That's right. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
He will be on someone's team because of his attitude.
Yep.
he'd probably fall out.
Oh yeah. Well, that's what they would use him for. I mean, he'd be that guy.
Since we went back, we also should mention Golden Richards passing away.
Yes.
Played with the Cowboys from 73 to 78. He had got diagnosed with Parkinson's disease about 5-10 years ago, but he died of congestive heart failure in Murray, Utah.
And that's where he was from,
He's
right? From
BYU
Utah?
guy.
He was a BYU guy before he played at
Is he from
Hawaii.
Utah?
I think he's from Utah. Yeah. He went to high school. It was, I think, close to. Well, I think it was in Murray. That's where he ended up going back. What I didn't realize about him. So we all know about the touchdown catch in '78
From Robert Newhouse.
from Robert Newhouse, the Super Bowl 12, the 77 season, 29 yards. What I didn't realize is 2 seasons with the Cowboys, he averaged 21.5 yards and 21.8 yards a catch. A catch. So he was quite the deep threat during his career.
That was when we signed Doug Donnelly. Everybody had flashbacks.
White Lightning.
White Lightning. And we were pretty happy to have him because we just knew he was going to be another Golden Richards.
Mike Renfro, too?
No.
Renfro,
No.
he wasn't a speed
Well,
guy?
it wasn't the same
Okay.
number, first of all. Yeah, Doug was 83.
Okay,
Yeah,
I
so,
got you.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah, that's right.
I'm with
it
you.
wasn't just because he was a white wide receiver. See, that's so racist of you, man.
Well, they're not supposed to
That's
be
not where we
fast,
are, bro.
right?
That's not where we are, bro. No, but Renfro.
Is he in the White Hall of Fame?
The Texas White Hall of Fame. No, but Doug just had injury problems, but we had some high hopes for him. Renfro used to be fast, and he hurt his knee. Remember? Before his knee surgery, well, more than one knee surgery, he was pretty fast.
It runs in the family. His dad,
son.
Ray Renfro, and then his son,
right?
Clint.
His son was a hell of a player.
Yeah.
Hell of a
Actually,
track.
Ran track at TCU.
I ran into both of them at the Davey O'Brien Award
Oh, yeah.
dinner.
Yep.
But anyway, yeah, I thought we'd point that out about Golden Richards. He had the greatest hair ever.
The Golden Locks.
Yes, he did.
All right. So what? Wow! Look at that legal pad. He has been filling up that legal
He's
pad.
been writing
Yeah.
while we've
So
been here.
what's on Mickey's legal pad right now?
You want to do it now?
Looking
or
at
we
the
need to
clock.
take
We
it?
got no.
Oh, we got time.
We got
Dude,
an hour.
this is not. There's no
So-
season. You're lucky we're here.
The Cowboys got a huge benefit
No, we're talking salary cap.
from the salary
There
cap
you
going up.
Okay, tell us why.
It was projected to go up to $242.5 million this year from $224.5 last year. But when it got solidified at the end of last week, it increased nearly $13 more million than the projection. So it's now $255.4 million. So at the time when the projection was 242, the Cowboys were somewhere around, I don't know, 16 million over the cap. Well, now, after the escalation, when it comes to the top 51 players, and that's what the cap hits at on March 13th, the Cowboys are really only about $3.5 million over the cap. So that's an easy adjustment that they can make initially. And then, the full cap doesn't hit until the first week of the season, and you got to include all 53 players. So for the top 51, they're within reasonable distance to make some adjustments to be able to not only get under, but have money to spend in free agency.
That's really good.
And the draft. So that was a huge benefit for the Cowboys at that time. Plus, they had a $10 million rollover from money that was left over this past season. So their total cap would have been $266.2 million when they rolled that in. But they've got $14.7 million in dead money. And when it comes to that dead money, Zeke's still counting $6 million, and Tyron Smith will count another $6 million. So 12 of the $14 million is dead money that was created by those two.
Okay.
And Mickey takes a big old sip.
That was a lot to talk
A
about.
lot of money. A lot of money conversation.
Okay, then what was this about the coming out of the pandemic and the makeup money that is also applied to that for the money that where they had to cut back during the pandemic? There was also
an adjustment.
This year.
Most of this is because of the new TV contract. That was the huge deal. So, and so right now they've got to decide. I mean, their biggest decision is what to do with Dak, and everybody keeps pointing out the cap hit is $59.4 million, but his base salary is only $29 million. There's been restructure bonuses that you got to account for. So they can reduce the $29 million by giving him a restructure bonus because there's 2 dummy years, void years at the end of his contract. And they can get it down, the cap hit, to probably in the $40 million. So that would create almost, $19 million more of space.
So just to give you an idea on the cap and where it's gone the last 4 years.
Yeah.
Okay, it was at the salary cap number in 2020 was $198.2 million. Because of COVID, it went down $16 million to $182.5 in 21. Went back up in 22 to $208 million. In 23, $224 million. And now this time it basically doubled the increase of $30 million to $255 million. And one of the reasons for that, as I answer my own question, the unprecedented $30 million increase per club in this year's salary cap is the result of the full repayment of all amounts advanced by the clubs and deferred by the players during the pandemic.
Interesting.
Okay.
There you go.
So they get a big bump. And Dak's not the only one. It's the biggest one. But if you look at Zach Martin, because of restructure bonuses they've paid him, his cap hit is going to be 28.5 in the last year of his contract, by the way. He's got an $18 million base. Same with DeMarcus Lawrence. He's got a $20.4 million cap hit. His base salary is only $10. But because they restructured and paid him bonus to lower his base salaries, at some point the credit card comes due, right? CeeDee Lamb, they really need to sign him to a long-term deal. The 5th-year option they picked up is $17.9 million. And so if you sign him to an extension, a long-term deal, then you can reduce the cap hit for at least this year because they'll pay him a big signing bonus, and so you only need to give him the base salary, the minimum base salary. So they got some things that they can do to create money because otherwise, if they didn't get that hit, they were going to be in trouble in free agency.
Here's another example of how well the league is doing right now. And Everson, this is for you. Okay. The salary cap number is $255.4 million for players on their roster right now. But each team is also getting an additional $74 million per club payment for player benefits, which includes performance-based pay for current players and benefits for retired players.
Nice.
You're a retired player, so that affects you.
Nice. I like that. So when do we realize that? Do you have that in your notes?
Go up to Jerry's office. So the actual player cost for 2024, $329 million per club, or more than $10.5 billion league-wide. That's how successful this league is doing.
Let's kind of go back to the anniversary this year what we were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think if Jerry would not have bought the Cowboys
for $140 million,
that this league would be thriving as it is right now? Can you point?
Oh, that's a good point.
To this acquisition, can you point to Jerry infusing himself into the NFL
and the way the NFL started approaching how they do business because of what Jerry
the owners, as much as they talk trash, I know that secretly they're like, he's good for the league. Great for the league, by the way. Jerry's Jerry to me, but when it's, really, you can not feel a certain way about somebody, but still give him some love. When he came into the league, everything changed. I mean, the way that the owners acted,
right.
Even though he's still a bit over the top as far as I'm concerned, but, he seemed to bring more interest to the league. And, of course, when the Cowboys started winning, that always brings more money to the league. But I think that, how many years ago today was it you said?
35.
35 years ago today, I think that all the NFL owners were better off when Jerry Jones came into the NFL.
Think about all the business part of it, and
that's what I mean.
From marketing to merchandising to TV contracts.
Even though he doesn't share, right? He still, isn't that the way they have it? He doesn't share
some of it, but it's still
and
shared.
They were mad about that. I remember the owners were mad about that. But overall,
like the Nike deal.
Yeah, exactly.
And mind
Pepsi
you,
too, right?
The Nike deal was 95. When it was the Monday night opener, and he and Phil Knight walked out together.
Right after the signing of Dion, or about the same time.
Right.
Dion was right after that.
Because at first it was Reeboks, right?
It was right after the signing of Kevin Smith.
Right, and then Dion was signed after Kevin went down in the season opener against the Giants.
Whatever.
It was Reebok at first, and then Nike, and then it was, didn't the soda, didn't they have a thing about the soda? Like
Pepsi and Coke.
Versus Coke.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And, he went against the grain every time, right?
And Miller Lite, this portion of Mick Shot brought to you by Miller Lite.
There you go, Mel.
So, no, I just thought that was, very interesting how, once it wasn't just, with him coming in and the Cowboys winning, then the NFL changed in the 1990s, and they never looked back.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sportico, they release a yearly report of all the sports franchises for value. And so last week they actually came out with the results and now increased. Cowboys, they are at $9.2 billion worth in value. New York Giants.
Quite a $140 million investment.
Exactly.
In 1989.
Giants came in at number 2, $7 billion, and the Rams at $6.9 billion for number 3.
The stadium.
The stadium.
Yeah. But Cowboys 9.2 at the top.
I thought Washington was in there at one point.
Let me look.
I think they have,
with the issues that they had.
Right.
Yeah, but before that they were up there.
They're at number 7 on this list at $6 billion.
There you go. There you go.
Oh, yeah, we had another break.
Yes, we do.
Okay, we got one more break, and we continue with more Mick Shots in just a moment.
The Medal of Honor is our country's highest military award for valor in combat. More than 40 million individuals have served in the armed forces since the Civil War. Fewer than 4,000 have received the Medal of Honor. The National Medal of Honor Museum will be a place to preserve these legacies and inspire America. It's being built right next door to the Dallas Cowboys in Texas. Help us honor our country's greatest heroes. Learn more and get involved at mohmuseum.org.
Cowboys football and Miller Lite. What a pairing. Can cracks at kickoff. Tailgates going way past postgame. Sunday night overtimes followed by Monday morning swagger. Brisket in the smoker. Miller Lite in the cooler. America's team playing America's greatest sport. Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys football tastes like Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. 2023 Miller Brewing Company, Fort Worth, Texas.
Did you know that responding to one spam call can lead to more? Or that the IRS would never ask for your social security number on the phone? Beat scammers at their own game by subscribing to AARP Fraud Watch Network alerts and texts. At aarp.org/beatscammerstx, you can sign up to receive information that helps you recognize and avoid the latest scams. That's aarp.org/beatscammerstx.
You know that sound anywhere. It's the crisp crunch of that first nacho chip. With its perfect cheese to sour cream ratio sitting atop a layer of delicious beans, it's a sip away from perfection. That's what we're looking for. Add a delicious, refreshing Pepsi and we've achieved absolute nacho nirvana. Because while you can pile those nachos high with every spicy, cheesy, savory topping, there's no topping a cool Pepsi finish. Nachos, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
Back to Mick Shots.
Register now for the 2024 Dallas Cowboys Youth Camps presented by Invisalign. Athletes of all skill levels, ages 6 to 16, are invited to learn from the best this summer at the Ford Center at the Star in Frisco. Football camps are led by former NFL players, and dance camps are taught by the DCC, Cowboys cheerleaders. Register before May 17th to save $25. Visit DallasCowboys.com/camps.
Last week, in case you missed the show, Mick Shots, presented by Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys. You had a special guest on the show, right?
We did.
How'd that
Former
go?
Cowboys video director Robert Blackwell
He was so great.
joined Savannah and I. He was great.
So you recommend that I go back and listen to it,
yeah,
and watch it?
He came
Okay.
in, sat right there.
That and
Okay, let him sit in my seat, huh?
and tune into his podcast as well, Real REEL Football Stories.
Yeah.
He told us all about his show that he does, all the old stories that
How
he
long
has.
did he say how long he's been doing it?
The podcast?
Yes.
I think a year and a half.
For like a year and a half
Really?
now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
How long has he been retired now?
Since 2020.
Okay.
2020 was his last
season, I think it was February of 21, he officially retired.
So he's one of the few people here that worked for every one of the
coaches,
owners, head coach, yeah, and GMs.
So when did he start?
1983.
Okay.
Is it 81?
Off the top of my head, I can't remember.
Because he was an assistant before he became the video director.
And then he was telling us, it was 40 seasons, and then he counted 835 games that he has filmed.
How many draft picks? Because he was the guy that in
we
New
talked
York,
about
right?
that. Thanks for
we
listening,
talked
Bill.
about it.
The draft card.
I haven't. I'm being very transparent here. I have not listened. That's why I wanted to find out.
Yes,
I need to go
you need
watch
to.
the show.
Yeah, he had some pretty
That's
good
why I'm
stories.
asking. Okay. All right. What's next on Mickey's?
So did they make the additions other than Mike Zimmer before you guys went wherever you went? To the
let's pretend that we don't know.
Yeah, because I don't think we've talked since Zimmer came in.
We talked Zim, right?
I don't think we did.
I don't think we did.
No.
No,
I think it was the week.
It was
later.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I don't know if we talked about it though. Was it before our show?
No.
It happened after.
So what do you think?
Yeah.
What do you think about
I
Mike
like
Zimmer?
it. I like it. He's a hard ass. That's what everybody wants. He's a hard ass, and it did work well with the players back then. Let's hope it works with the players now. Yes, they're different now. When's the last time he was here?
2006.
2006 was his last season.
Players are a little different now.
A little bit.
Just like in school, students are different now. You have to have more updated ways of motivating guys, and I'm hoping he can do it.
Well, and let's make he's been coaching except for the last 2 years, and he kind of explained the idea that he was Dion's consultant. He was like, yeah.
It's funny how something gets put on your Wikipedia page.
Right.
That you're this analyst and coach, like you're got your sleeves rolled up, and you're right alongside Dion at Jackson State coaching.
And they were making
Colorado.
phone calls.
Yeah, right. He's like, call him. They're making phone calls to each other. It's like
he never
Jimmy
went to Colorado.
It's like Jimmy's now on the advisory
that's right.
board.
How about
That's
that?
true, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yes.
Our people at
I love
Channel
that.
11, their news producers. Oh, we gotta do a story on that. Are you leading the sportscast with? No, Jerry just made a phone call to Jimmy, and Jimmy jokingly said, "I'm on his advisory board now." And now it becomes headlines across the. No,
Sometimes you got
Jimmy is now working for the Cowboys.
Right.
Sometimes you
That is
actually
kinda good, though.
you got to hear it.
yeah.
You got to hear it, not read it.
Right.
Because when I heard it, he was laughing.
when he said it. Yeah.
So
Good they made up.
Zim though. So I called Campo because Campo's the one that got him here. It's a long, involved story on how they met, but Mike and myself met 1979. He was his first coaching job out of college at the University of Missouri, and he was a part-time assistant. And a guy by the name of Mike Price, ring a bell, was the Missouri quarterbacks coach and wide receivers coach when Zim was there. And he got hired as the head coach in 1980 at Weber State. And he brought Mike along as his defensive back coach, who ended up 8 years later as his defensive coordinator.
At Washington State.
At Washington State. And Campo was out of work because he was working for Joe Avezzano at Oregon State when they went winless. And Campo said, I just needed to find a job. And so he ends up at Weber because he and Mike Price were assistant coaches at Washington together. So anyway, Campo got to know Zim, and he said once he kept trying to get Mike here, he would come and visit. And when Switzer became the head coach in '94, they talked him into hiring Zim as a defensive assistant, taking care of the secondary. And the rest was history for, 13 seasons
years
after
here.
that.
Yep.
Forgive my ignorance. Mike Price.
He was the head coach at Washington State, then at UTEP, and then you'll have to Google the rest.
Why should I know him? Because he's a Missouri guy?
No, he ended up at Washington as the head coach.
Let me look.
Well, dang, you act like everybody knows
He
him.
ended up. No,
He said it like, Mike Price.
To Wikipedia we go.
I think I have said
Wait.
3 times that he was at Washington State, not Washington.
Okay. He got hired as the head coach at Alabama.
Right.
Yes.
And that's
Remember
where
that?
things went sideways.
I do not. I'm sorry. Yeah,
He
but
didn't
go ahead.
even coach a game.
Right.
Wow. Okay.
It was off
Off
season.
the field incident
Off the
during a
field
brief stint.
incident.
That's why I said you can
Yes.
Google that part of it.
Wikipedia has it all.
He ended up getting
Rated R.
fired.
Rated
Yes,
R.
it
I got
was.
you. Yeah, well.
Anyway, but that's how they got together. So I ended up
There's
calling.
thousands of hits on Mike Price's name now.
I will be one of them.
I gotta see
Mickey
what
brought
happened
it up, okay?
at Alabama.
Yeah, Mick.
Mick brought it up.
Well, last time I told that story and I mentioned Mike Price, they go, "Oh yeah, I remember that." So
then he wound up at UTEP.
Anyway, I called
Alabama
Campbell.
to UTEP.
I called Campbell to, how
must
he
have been
and,
egregious.
it was. To ask him about Mike Price. I mean, about Mike Zimmer.
Okay.
And he said, yeah. He
that
goes,
what
and
we're
the
talking
good
about,
thing.
Mike Zimmer?
He said the good thing about Zim is if those guys need to be MF'd, he will MF.
Yes.
But he'll also put his arm around the guy
Right.
and take care of him.
Yeah.
So,
So the players trust him.
yeah.
And it's not like, he's going to be a teddy bear to him. He's really going to, be hard. Tough love.
But
Tough love.
he pointed out in the press conference, he goes, but that's what players want. They want me to make them better, right?
And he also even said in there, he said the players want to be coached, and the best players really want to be coached. Yeah. And that's as true as it gets, I
agree with
Darren
They got to
Woodson-
work with him, too.
Woody couldn't say enough of good things about him. And even Dion.
Yeah.
I mean, that tells you what Dion thought of him.
Yeah, I mean, he's his confidant. I love Mike Zimmer just his time in Minnesota because he drafted my guy Daniil Hunter in the third round of the draft, edge rusher.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then they've also brought back Greg Ellis.
Oh, that's nice. I saw that.
He's going to be defensive assistant, defensive line assistant, but he told me when we ran into each other last week that he's going to concentrate on defensive ends. So
I remember, I think that was Greg. He was standing outside the dorm, and he was checking in. He was bringing his stuff in, and he had a TV under his arm. I think it was Greg. And they talk, so he's checking in, so the media's all there. Cowboys come to training camp, and they interviewed Greg Ellis. Well, they interviewed him for about 5 minutes, and he never dropped the TV. I mean, that was crazy. It was a big-ass TV.
You remember seeing this on TV?
Trust me, guys, it's out there. He held on to that TV the entire interview, and it was a big-ass TV.
Like a 50-inch TV?
Yes. Well, it was, back in the day. So
it wasn't one of these light
ones.
ones.
It's like a box.
Yeah, they
type
weren't
of
those
one, yeah.
kind. No, this was
These are the tube TVs.
Yeah, this was
the big old.
Yeah, and he was holding on to that
So
thing.
his rookie year would have been 98, and there were
That
no
was before high-definition television.
there were no TVs in the dorms at Wichita, at Midwestern.
Okay.
So you had to bring your own TV.
He brought it in. And he was holding
it.
the entire interview. I think he may have started sweating a little bit, but
because it was
5
hotter than
minutes.
hell.
Yeah, because it was hot. But
degrees.
not
Wichita
because the
Falls in
TV was
August.
heavy, though. It wasn't because the TV was heavy. He just held on to it. And he was just talking. Okay, guys. It was kind of like Tom. Okay.
That's where he made his first impression for you. Man, this guy strong
must
as
be
an ox.
strong. They make different TVs now.
In 2000, so it was my first year, and I stayed at the dorm at Midwestern State. I should have done that with my 12-pack of
Miller Lite?
Diet Coke. Because I moved into the dorm.
Mick's a party guy. He's got the beer. I got the beer.
Moved into the dorm, and I said, I'll go back and get that next day or 2 days later. It was so hot in Wichita Falls, it exploded in the back of my car. All the cans just exploded. Diet Coke all over the place.
So think about what that does in your stomach, where it.
Oh, no.
Yes, Bill. Thank you, Bill.
Thanks, Bill.
Thanks, Bill. That's what he needs, damn it. That's exactly what he needs.
That's why the Achilles pretty sure
went
it's 98 degrees in your stomach. So
that's why the Achilles went bad.
But it was 120 in Wichita Falls.
That was a waste of time, I thought.
What, that whole story about?
No, not the story.
Good story.
Excuse me, Bill. Didn't know that we were wasting your time. No, I just mean being out there. It was too hot. It was too hot to practice.
Well, no kidding.
Yeah, it was just too hot. I was out there on my 10-speed. I almost died. Yeah, I was.
Did you take part in the Hutter Hill 100?
Heck no. But I felt it because I rode the highway from the hotel to the practice field.
You did?
Yeah. I was with Ducey.
Oh, Channel
Yeah,
4.
I was with Ducey. Yeah.
Whatever happened to him?
Real funny.
Yeah. I'll let you.
You want to talk about
Sports
the other guys?
We'll circle up on that later.
Yeah. They also hired Paul Gunther, the defensive run game coordinator, Jeff, and I don't know how to Scanina, defensive line coach, and they just hired Christian Garcia as a defensive assistant.
You don't sound real
quality
fired up
control.
about these hires.
Well-
Just the way you're expressing them, you don't have a lot of energy in your voice. You're running out of gas here, Mickey.
So do I need to
Dang.
Just so you know, I get paid by a certain guy who's standing outside, and he's like, "We need to wrap this up." So
Jerry's outside.
no, not Jerry, not Jerry.
not Chris?
Well, Scotty's out there like, "Hey, come on, let's
Oh,
wrap it
because
up."
he needs you for
Yeah, I
something.
guess so. I don't know. He's like, I think he's looking at me. Maybe try to look at Bill. I don't know.
We get to go to noon, and it's noon.
It is noon.
It is
High
noon.
noon. Here we are.
It's high noon and 1 minute after now.
Okay, so fast forward a week, and Combine will be over next Monday.
And
so we'll have, this big
And that
green
notebook's
notebook
gonna
is
be
gonna
filled up.
Oh, it's gonna be
Yeah.
so full.
And the Mick part of Mick Shots won't be here.
Oh, what's up?
What happened?
Oh.
I might just end up in Vail. You never know.
Man, you never know. Do your thing, baby. Do your thing.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. Y'all don't ask me questions. I'm not asking anymore.
So we'll do our Combine show next
It'll
week.
be our
without
Combine
Mickey.
show, and it'll be
Great.
also be our NFL free agency preview.
So we're
Because
going
the
to
free agency
rely-
starts the following Monday.
We're going to rely on that book a lot
Okay.
next week. Then.
Look
I got
out.
my homework assignment.
That green notebook used to look like my notes I took in American history in college, right?
Little
Now it's
flimsy.
fancy.
Yeah, I got a
Really
big
is.
old
That's nice,
binder
bro.
now and everything.
Jeez.
Yeah,
Moved
he
up to
finally
the-
got a
We need to
binder.
write
He
on
finally
the
got
notes.
a
Get your
binder
name
after all
on
these
it.
years.
That's right.
I think he liked that look. I think it made him look like he was doing more than he really
But
was.
why green? Why can't we have a blue?
Once upon a time, about 15 years ago, I had for some reason, it was a green notebook, and someone said, "Hey, you ought to start marketing this as your big green notebook." And so I wanted to go to the Big Green Egg Company and get a sponsorship, which never happened, but I just have kept it in hopes that one day it'll be the Big Green Egg, and I'll make some money off this. Anyway.
No, that is not happening.
Yeah.
No. That still doesn't really answer the question, does it? I mean, how the hell?
I don't know. It just happened to be green one year, so I always
maybe
Pick the
green.
color.
Maybe the color green means something, right? Renewal. I don't know. Knowledge.
That's right.
Right.
Spring
Knowledge?
is sprung.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's the color of spring. Mm-hmm. It's the color of money.
The green book.
Yeah. All right, we're out of time. We're past out of
way
time,
out of time.
here on Mick Shots presented by Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys. It's Miller time again next Monday at 11 a.m. on Mick Shots.
Go Cowboys.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!